Okay, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is the next day since my last clip, and here we are. We're still in the garage, so we are definitely not going to be going roll racing today. It turns out it's not raining, it's just really cloudy. I've been watching the weather all week, and it was showing rain over there, and I forgot the town. I think it's called Long Pond, Pennsylvania. That's where the Pocono Raceway is located. So it was showing rain for like 4 or 5 days straight, but it's just cloudy. I just checked, it's not raining, so I'm a little disappointed. But why are we not at the track? Because I couldn't get the trailer. So since I was hustling and working so hard on getting these front wheels on over like a 2-3 day period, last night I said to myself, I don't care, even if I don't get the trailer, I'll drive the car there. But that's suicide, and for those of you who don't know, driving through New York City is suicide, especially with a car that's only like 3 inches off the ground. New York City consists of 5 boroughs. You have Queens, the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island. Did I get them all? Queens, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island. Yeah. So you basically got to drive through. Well, it depends whichever way the GPS is taking you, but you're definitely going to have to drive through Queens and the Bronx, go over the George Washington Bridge to head into Pennsylvania. You got to go through New Jersey first, and that's suicide. So I said to myself, well, I'll just drive there because the car is going to sit an inch higher, so I should have a little more than 4 inches of clearance on the front. And again, if you've never driven like through the Cross Bronx Expressway, I mean, they have potholes bigger than this car. I mean, it's New York City. It's horrible. So I said I was going to drive it because the car was supposed to sit at least an inch higher because these were 28 inches tall. But guess what? These are not 28 inches tall. They're 26. And the car is actually sitting a 1/4 of an inch lower now, all around. I figured the back would sit a little lower, but the back doesn't really matter because this tire is a little smaller than the other ones. But I was misinformed by the rep when I was ordering my tires, and the front M&H skinnies are 26 inches tall. But the car is actually sitting a 1/4 of an inch lower. So now we only have, what, I had 3 1/4 before? Hold on, I got the measurements here. Okay, so I had 3 3/8 inches on the front. 3 3/8 inches. Now I only have 3 1/8 inches. So that's not good. I could have sworn it was 3 1/4 on the front originally. It doesn't matter because at this point I have 3 1/8 inches. So that's basically just 3 inches. So you just can't drive this car there. You can't. So we're not going. But the suspension has settled like overnight, and I drove it. I drove it late last night. I finished up late. I had to clean up the garage, and the suspension settled because when I first filmed, there was a big gap here, and now you can see there's like really no gap. The front tire's like tucked into that fender pretty good. So I finished really late. Now there is a way you could raise the suspension, and I'm going to do that, but I finished up late getting the wheels on and cleaning up the garage. And then I realized that the car was sitting lower. So it was just too damn late for me to start to try to raise the suspension. So what I'm going to try to do is raise the front of the car 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. See how that looks. And then I'm going to try to lower the back 1/2 inch because I think there's a little too much gap here. So I'll lower the back 1/2 inch and raise the front 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. The car has a good rake. It's you know, up on an angle towards the back. I don't know if you could tell, you could see, but hold on. You can see a little bit there. So lowering the back 1/2 inch isn't going to do anything. And the back's never been an issue as far as clearance. It's always just been the front. So my next video will be how to raise the suspension or lower the suspension. Raise and lower the suspension, I should say. Alright, so some of you might be wondering, how much did I spend? Yeah, I spent a lot of money. A lot. So let's go over that now. Okay, so let's tally this up. Each bead lock was $1,100, so that's $2,200. The front weld skinnies were $600 each, so that's $1,200. The rear drag radials, $650 for the two of them. The front runners, the M&H skinnies, were $550 for both. So almost as much as the drag radials. The spacer, stud, and lug nut kit, which I got from one company, was $340. The sensors, TPMS sensors, all 4 of them, plus these nuts, were just under $200. So $200 for the sensors and the nuts. And to have the front tires mounted and balanced, and to have the rears just balanced, they charged me $140 just for that. So mount and balance the front and just balance the rears, they charge $140. Welcome to Long Island, New York. Rip-off capital of the world. So there it is. Okay, so there it is. Bead locks $1,100 each. Front wheels $600 each. Drag radials $650. Front runners $550 for both. Front spacers, studs, lug nuts $340. Sensors $200. Mount and balance $140. Grand total spend $5,280. It's a little more than that because I had to run out and get I had to go and find some, lug nuts. I bought 2 of them so I could press the front studs on. I showed you how I did that. And then I had to buy a socket set because I didn't have a 12-point socket this small. Every socket set I had stopped just before this one. So I had to go and buy a set. So that's how much I spent, plus a little extra. So not cheap. Okay, so let's talk about some of the weight savings. I'll be right back. Okay, so if you recall the forged stars that I had before on the rear, so the rims and the tires that I previously had on the rear, weighed 68.5 pounds each. Now the forged stars and the tires that I had on the front, turned out they weighed 52.5 pounds each. Now the weld bead locks on the rear and the tires weigh 56 pounds each. So we're saving 12.5 pounds on the rear on each side times 2, so we're saving 25 pounds on the rear. Now the weld wheels on the front with the tires weigh 26 pounds. So compared to the previous setup, we are saving 26.5 pounds on each side on the front. Times 2, that's 53 pounds we're saving on the front. So that gives us a total weight savings of 78 pounds. That's not bad. I didn't think it would be that much, but that's pretty good. So those are the numbers. That's how much weight we're saving. That's how much I spent. Now, you be the judge if you want to do this and spend this much money. Okay, so that wraps it up for this wheeled series. You saw how I did it. You saw how much I spent. You see the weight savings. So I don't think there's any more roll racing events nearby where I live. So I'm definitely going to try to make it to the drag strip before the winter hits. You know, we're already the end of September almost. Now I still have the stock clutch, and I'd like to add more boost and do another fuel system. But I could do the clutch and the fuel system over the winter, and I just got to get another pulley to throw more boost at it, so that's not a big deal. But if I start tearing it apart now, I'm not going to even get to appreciate all the motor work I've done or these wheels and tires. So I'm going to try to go to the drag strip. I'm not going to speculate what times I'm going to run. I know what the car could be capable of. It's pretty fast. But again, I have the stock clutch, so I'm not going to be able to leave the line really hard. So I'm going to have to kind of take it easy off the line. But then I could roll into it. And I don't think I'll be power shifting either with the stock clutch and these sticky tires. But it should be fun. And I have to learn how to have more fun with this car, because over the last year I've just spent lots of money on it and I haven't even really driven it much. So my next video will probably be raising the suspension, and then hopefully maybe we could get to the track. I just got to figure out a way now. The trailer situation is, you know, it's not good because none of them are wide enough. So what I'm thinking to do is go to a junkyard and get like 2 spare donuts, like shitty donuts from like a 1995 Chevy Lumina or something. And yeah, none of that shit's gonna work because none of those wheels are not gonna fit over those big ass calipers. Oh, so there goes that idea. Unless maybe I take some of the front wheels that I have, put the front wheels on the back, try that out. I don't even know if that'll work. I just got to get the rear more narrow somehow to get it on these U-Haul trailers and these other trailers that were located around me. I really need like an industrial flat trailer, one that's completely flat without these bullshit railings on the side. Alright, so I'll be back. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching and thank you for supporting. Alright guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.